So I'll say this. You would think that after being able to sit down and watch Ric Flair retire in 2008 that, I can get used to things like this. Then it happened with HBK. Then fast forward from HBK, it happened with Taker. Then Goldberg, and so on and so forth. And, after all of these lists of individuals, even from the Triple H's, you would think that you're now used to this. You're accustomed to things like this happening. And then, when the days like this come, you're sitting here saying to yourself that you're not ready for it. Well, guys, let me just be one of those individuals to tell you right now that I'm not ready for tonight. I wasn't ready for tonight. You would think that after taking the whole year to watch every single match, to be invested into every single storyline, that I would be ready for this singular day. I'm not. Of course, guys, it's December 13th, 2025. Tonight will be etched in history as the final night on the Last Time Is Now farewell tour. John Cena retires from professional wrestling in the span of T-minus 9 hours. And as I sit here and I look at this, we have a stacked show where we get to talk about a lot of things. But, of course, before Saturday night's main event, you have this right here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. If after 4+ years of doing this show, and you still somehow do not know who in the blue hell I am, I suggest you go back to school or go into your local library. Get the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the phenomenal one, and of course, I'm not alone. Because you see, I have my comrade, my brother from another mother and dimension, the one and only limousine rider, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. And unlike every single name that I just mentioned, this man fails to retire because, of course, he's damn near 2,000 years old. Before Christ, it's okay, we get it. But guys, without further ado, give me 2 claps and a peep stage.
Woo! Yes. Gotta hit him with the "you can't see me, now you can." There we go.
Now you can, absolutely.
Yes, of course. I am here. Nature's in the building. Phenomenal One is here. Of course, we know hustle, loyalty, and respect are the 3 tenets for John Cena. But the 3 tenets that we follow here on Saturday Afternoon's Main Event are goes, laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. So there you go.
Indeed, peeps. What a night tonight will be, right?
Yes.
We were just on the phone a couple of hours ago, and I sat there and I ended that call, talked to a couple of friends, and they instantly called me like, "Yo, P1, Rich, I'm not ready. I'm not." You have other people tearing up on the phone. I'm sitting there just like, how do I console individuals? This is really like the end of an era for me. Peeps, I already start feeling it. I'm already feeling the back pains. Look. Wait, what do they call it? Cortisone 10? Yo,
there
give me some of that, peeps. Yo, look, icy hot, whatever you got, please, just please. But look, beyond all else, like I said, it's a stacked show for today. We won't waste no time. We won't try to go ahead and waste anybody's time. Of course, everybody wants to get those tears out before 7:30 p.m. So I'll go ahead and make this a quick 1-hour episode for you guys. Do not worry. The peeps and I will go ahead and definitely deliver for you guys. Unfortunately, of course, Mr. 401 isn't in the building today because he is down with a real heavy sickness. Hopefully, he gets well soon. We're hoping that you go ahead and pull through, Chris. So look, All the best, man. We know you're probably going to be kicking back, watching, and delivering jokes through the comment section. So, hey, go
Drinking
for
the
it.
rocket fuel. There you go.
Indeed.
Yes.
But look, again, I won't try to waste anybody's time. We'll go ahead and kick right into today's episode. And of course, that starts with this. When you hear that sound, it's time for one thing and one thing only. Guys, it is time for Three Rope Talk. Peeps, we're opening up today's show kind of in a sense of in tribute, right? Cena'S impact. I think that's what we need to talk today first, right?
Yes.
Peeps, again, I mentioned it. Cena'S retiring today. The whole world has been paying tribute throughout the week. You have guys like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and The Miz going ahead and paying tribute. You have different NFL teams to where different baseball teams and different NBA teams going ahead and paying tribute to Cena because of the fact that during his Thugonomics era, he was out here rocking different Mitchell and Ness classic jerseys of famous players. And these teams felt that it is necessary to go ahead and pay tribute to John Cena before his final match tonight.
Yes.
When you talk about John Cena's impact, when you talk about the different things that he was able to accomplish and the different things that he did to elevate the company to new heights within this modern era after the Attitude Era was completely done and over with and finished, what is your take on it?
I would venture to say that John Cena's impact on professional wrestling, not just professional wrestling in general, but in entertainment, rivals that of Dwayne Johnson. It rivals that of Hulk Hogan, of Steve Austin. Austin much more so on the in-ring and character side of it. But when we're talking about someone that has crossed over from just the pure wrestling aspect of it, showing his athleticism, showing the things that he was able to do, and then cross that over from the first time anybody laid eyes on him when he was in OVW as he wrestled as the Prototype, 200 and almost 90 pounds. He was people don't realize when John Cena first broke into the business, he was a huge man. And he went in and he showed everybody that he was cutting promos or starting to learn how to cut promos. He was doing a lot of really good in-ring work while he was in OVW. Jim Cornette was able to be around him and help train him to get him to where he was. And he was one of those stalwarts out of OVW that actually helped to be that next leg of WWE, along with Batista, along with some of the other guys like Randy Orton that came out of the same time period and become a vital cog in the WWE machine. And what my partner and I spoke about is that the first time I got a chance to see John Cena in person was at WrestleMania 20, when he won his first singles championship in WWE, and that was when he beat the Big Show for the United States Championship. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the first match to open up the show. Yep. And that was the beginning of a long, long storied career of John Cena and his evolution from, like I said, from Prototype to being put on the main roster in his little match with Kurt Angle, and he being the ruthless aggression speech and taking Kurt Angle to the limit and getting the seal of approval from The Undertaker, shaking his hand at the end of SmackDown that night. And I remember that like it was yesterday. To, like I said, winning the United States Championship, to main eventing WrestleMania the following year against JBL and winning the championship. From there, for all the people that have claimed Shawn Michaels being Mr. WrestleMania, there is an outside argument that John Cena probably could take that title of Mr. WrestleMania as well, of his importance to the WrestleMania brand, to the WWE brand, and to the entertainment brand as a whole.
Indeed. Peeps, as we sit here and embark on tonight, right? And we say goodbye to a storybook career. Is there anything possibly that you can sit there and say that at least can set up the future? Because genuinely, I'm hearing different people say there will never be another John Cena. And it sounds very eerily similar to when people back in the Attitude Era would say there will never be another Rock or Austin, or there will never be another Hulk Hogan, there will never be another Andre. You hear there will never be another Undertaker when he retired 5 years ago at Survivor Series. What is it that you're thinking in your head now when people say there will never be another John Cena?
Well, that is the truth. I think when we look at, if you're going to look at what Cena was and who he is, the complete package of John Cena is somebody who was, let's really be honest, he was a very good athlete, had a very good physique. He had a bodybuilder's physique, always looked in shape. So the women loved him. The guys wanted to be him. And he was very popular. We remember the whole Word Life era, the Spinner US title and the Spinner WWE Championship, and going on and having such great matches. We also remember some of the things that were connected to John Cena that might not have been shown in the best of light for himself, because a lot of people looked at John Cena as great as he was. He played politician in the back with a lot of other wrestlers. We remember the Alex Riley situation where he was supposed to get a push and that was stifled. We remember a lot of the other things that have happened in the past on that personal level, in the locker room, in the back. His relationship with Nikki Bella that lasted 6 years until they broke up. All of the different things that have happened in totality, we now know that what John Cena has become has been just as important to the evolution of the business as anything, because his crossover appeal, movies, television, merchandising, music, all of those things, voiceovers for commercials. He's the voice of the Honda commercial that you hear about. One of the many. He does hefty garbage bag stuff. So if you're looking at what his importance to the entertainment industry is, the world's economy, because the movies that he's been in have grossed a lot of money, and then the importance of then pushing that on to others, and maybe at this point of his career, imparting some of that knowledge to the wrestlers that will absorb some of that, because he's going to be an ambassador to WWE. He's done in ring, but he's not done with WWE. I think that's where the comparisons to other genres and other eras ends, and where John Cena can then impart his wisdom and a lot of the things that he has done to the younger guys, and even some of the guys that are not as young per se, but are kind of mid-card, and see where they can go with developing some of that talent and helping them out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, we'll talk more John Cena later on within the show, because of course we still have Saturday night's main event predictions to go. But within that, we'll move over to another piece of wrestling news. Unfortunately, over the past week, we got the news that Steve Regal had passed away.
Yes.
Of course, prominent name to many, probably within the sector of fans back then in the AWA.
Yes. To clarify, not William Regal, not that.
Indeed.
That's not the wrestler. Let's clarify that before anybody freaks out.
Yes, not Lord Steven Regal.
Yes,
guys, come on now, stop it. If you want a WWE clarification, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you one right now. He was dubbed Mr. Electricity. Okay.
Yes.
But indeed, Steve Regal passes away. Peeps, you can go ahead and touch on that.
Yes. I watched him as a child of the 80s, and watching a lot of the wrestling that we've seen of the AWA in the territory days. I saw him as a really good, pretty decent technical wrestler. He wasn't a big guy, but he had the tools in ring to work. Blonde hair, dark beard, was very good in ring. With a lot of people, if they do have a memory of him that looked at wrestling from the era that I watched, remembers him in the AWA as one of the tag teams that defeated the Road Warriors in the AWA for the AWA Tag Team Championship. The Road Warriors in the AWA at the time were AWA Tag Team champs for well over a year. And there was a feud that was going to kind of proliferate from the Fabulous Freebirds and the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors had their feud going, and then the Freebirds interfered in their tag team match, and it was Steve Regal and Jimmy Garvin winning the tag team championships, one of the biggest upsets that you could look at in wrestling at that time, which then led to the feud between the Road Warriors and the Freebirds, which kind of commenced they had a big show in Chicago at Comiskey Park where they had a cage match with the Freebirds and the Road Warriors. Steve Regal was a tag team champion until he and Jimmy Garvin lost the belts to one Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall. And those are some names. It shows you the kinds of talent that were in the AWA. But he was a light heavyweight, a junior heavyweight, which is a distinction that you don't really hear about unless you go to Japan. And he had very good technical in-ring work. And that is what he was mostly known for. Wrestled in the Crockett's, wrestled in the other territories in Mid-South, but is mostly known for those that have heard the name being in the AWA. And it's unfortunate in the fact that he passed away in July, and we just got the news of his passing over the last 6 or 7 days. Oh. So it's unfortunate. He was in his 70s, it passed away. So my condolences and our condolences go out to him and his family. To give you an idea, the AWA used to, in their marketing, release action figures, sort of the progenitor for what the WWE does with their action figures. And they had a 3-pack. And it was Jimmy Garvin, it was Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal, and Precious in a 3-pack that shows you the kind of marketing that the AWA tried to do for their wrestlers. So he will definitely be missed.
Indeed. Well, thank you for that, peeps. From there, we'll move back into the world of WWE with our review for last weekend's NXT Deadline. Peeps, what a show.
Yes.
Obafemi beats Ricky Saints to become NXT champion and to be the individual who is going to be facing Cody Rhodes during tonight's Saturday night's main event. Of course, you had that. Then you move into Javon Evans being Iron Survivor.
Yes.
Which turned out to be a very good match, I have to say.
Really good match.
Indeed. But then you fast forward and you look into everything else. Tony D'Angelo making a return. A Tony D'Angelo who doesn't look like the Don anymore. An individual who seems like he has morphed into a new standout character. So that is something to be a sight to behold. But peeps, what was your overall thoughts of the show?
I thought the show was really good. It was really well done. The pacing of both Iron Survivors, the men's Iron Survivor and the women's Iron Survivor match, were really good. 25 minutes of solid wrestling from both matches. And there was so much talent back and forth. There were so many engaging things that happened within those matches that were there to kind of tell the stories and then branch off different feuds going forward for NXT. As far as Javon Evans, who is going to be a pillar of this company going forward, the fact that he was able to pull it off and the timing, it makes you wonder, did Pat Patterson come from the grave and help time this for both matches? Because the timing for both matches was impeccable. All of the matches, both of those matches came down to the last minute where the falls were tied up until the last few seconds. And I thoroughly enjoyed both matches. It was a really good show. Really fun show.
I agree. Now, of course, Obafemi being NXT champion, Tony D'Angelo returning, an individual who has had prior history with Obafemi. Beeps, we've been asking for Oba to be moved up to the main roster. It seems like today's going to be his chance.
Yes.
Do we see Tony D'Angelo being the one to dethrone him, or are we still sold on Javon Evans?
I don't think the WWE is ready to push Javon Evans quite yet to the main roster. We still have been asking the question about why Trick Williams hasn't been brought to the main roster yet. Maybe it's because the top half of both SmackDown and Raw are so star-laden and star-heavy that there's kind of like a logjam at the top of the card. and they would like to bring him in when they can to give him the best push that they can. And we see the way that they've been doing this has been kind of paced. They're kind of doing it in a way that you get to see the other stars, but now looking at what they've been doing here, especially with Javon Evans being that star, when he gets to the main roster, look out, because he has put on nothing but stellar matches over and over and over again, even going after what happened at NXT, where instead of waiting until New Year's Evil to get his title shot, he decided to get his title shot this past Tuesday. And if you looked at NXT, we saw what happened. We saw the inevitable heel turn of one Ricky Saints.
Indeed.
That's going to be very interesting going forward.
I mean, peeps, it's Ricky Saints we're talking about here.
Yes.
The man fits as a heel as well. And we know his best work comes from him being a heel and garnering that kind of heat. I can't wait to see what they have in store for him and how that moves. Look, he's under the umbrella of the HBK Shawn Michaels. So,
yes,
look, by all cases, I can't wait to see what happens when it comes to Ricky Saints. But speaking about an old AEW talent, we move to the world of AEW, peeps. There's a rumor floating around that a certain somebody will be returning to TV imminently, that individual being MJF.
Yes.
They're saying he should be returning as early as next week's Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, I believe.
Yes.
Brian Alvarez had reported it Thursday on Wrestling Observer Live that, you know, he is done with all of his commitments when it comes to the film industry and all the movies and everything like that. And he has been backstage recently at certain other AEW events. So who knows? This could probably have him go into being a number one contender for Samoa Joe's World Championship at AEW World's End. And wouldn't that really fit the trajectory, being what we had from the year prior into this year? What did it fit, peeps?
Yes, it's been quite some time. Yes, it's been, I believe MJF has been off of television since the summer? Since just around All In or shortly after it. And he looked on TV after he lost his title match, and he said, "You know what? When I come back, I'm going to be back better. I'm going to be different. I'm not going to have the same weaknesses, at least on camera." So to bring him back in, I think AEW can use MJF. They can use his personality. They can use him on camera, and especially now that what's holding AEW over is right now the Continental Classic Tournament, which is, for me, as I said before, one of the best things about AEW when they are able to do the tournament, because it reminds me of the G1. If you can continue to do something like that and continue this tournament on, because we know the winner of this tournament is going to get all kinds of gifts. We're going to find the winner, I believe, at World's End when we get there. So yes, we're gonna. This tournament is so good. So to have MJF,
I've been shocked about the upset from this past week with Fletcher losing to Speedball Mike Bailey. I mean, that was a shock, and beyond everything else, it was a really good match.
Yes, it was a good match. There were things that happened within the match that I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of people that really like it. I know Christopher Morton. We chatted, and he was not a big fan of the match. I know that Fletcher right now is still going to be the future of this company. But I think that the way that they're doing this tournament, because I kind of pulled up the standings right now, and he's tied with Okada with 6 points in their gold league, with Okada, Bailey, Fletcher, Knight, Pac, and Jim Perry, Jungle Jack Perry. The way that it is right now, it kind of looks like they're going to go with Fletcher winning that league. They got 2 more matches to go for his group. They're going to continue the Continental Classic today on Collision. I think Collision comes on at 4 in the afternoon or 4:30 this afternoon because of
course,
some
Saturday night's main
sports,
event.
Saturday night's main event, and other sports that's going to be on the Turner networks. So yes, they're going to continue that on. Fletcher is the star of that league right there. As far as MJF being there, I think that's what they need.
I agree. Well,
Yes.
look, with that being said, peeps, that marks the end of Three Rope Talk. Give us the ratings for this past week, peeps. I know you've been itching to go ahead and give us the ratings. How has that
Yes.
been out?
We finally got the it's well, because of Thanksgiving, the ratings have been kind of backlogged over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Last week's ratings I can give you because we gave you SmackDown's ratings before. I'll give you last week's ratings and I'll give you this week's ratings. Last week, NXT won on the ratings again, 532,000 for NXT, whereas they had 0.08 in the demo, which is quite low. Whereas AEW had 496,000, which is another under 500,000, with 0.09 in the demo. So we go and juxtapose that to this week's ratings, and NXT won 647,000 viewers with a 0.09 in the demo, and AEW did 516,000 with a 0.09 in the demo. And interestingly enough, I actually looked this up because for those that don't realize how I follow the ratings, I chart all of the ratings for every week for all of the shows. That's what I do. And
that's our encyclopedia, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. And what I've seen is that this is going to be weird, but AEW has only won 4 weeks out of the year, 45-4 this year in the ratings. Now, obviously, some of it is from preemptions. Some of it is also from moving around the channel, a bad show here, another hot show on the opposite network, etc. Those kinds of things happen. But in general, if you wanted to keep tabs, it's 45-4 in favor of NXT compared to AEW. As far as SmackDown, they did 1.06 million with a 0.24 in the demo, which is slightly down from last week. And last week they did 1.14 million. So the ratings have steadily been lower all around for professional wrestling, and that's mostly because of how the Nielsen ratings have changed over the last 8 or 9 weeks.
Indeed. Now, peeps, of course, we do know that starting next month, TNA will be added to the mix of our ratings for the week. Of course, being that they will now be on AMC and AMC Plus, which is the streaming app, later to begin that beginning of the year. Peeps, funny enough, I've been seeing within whatever data that they gathered within 2023 to 2024, TNA was averaging about 80 to 100,000 viewers before the data's gathering ceased on Access TV.
Okay.
That was Access TV. Now, of course, we know that AMC is available on cable, and it's probably approximately available in about 60 million homes within the US. But knowing that, we know how TV has been digressing. We know how television is no longer the same. People are now using streaming platforms. People are now using things like YouTube and Netflix and Hulu to gain notoriety through their shows. Knowing that, people have been saying that they will probably range potentially on their ratings between 100 to 300,000 viewers. Do you feel that that is a fair assessment, especially for TNA?
I think on a Thursday night when they are up against other sports, to get collision style numbers within 250,000, something like that, would be something to strive for, because getting 100, 150,000 on a network that a lot of people didn't even have access to, pun intended, that's going to be something that they're going to have to strive for. First, just establish their product. They still have their WWE connection, as they are still prominently featured in their main event storyline with NXT. Continue to do that, get the traction that they need, get the rub on camera, and then promote that. And I think that, as you've heard me say before, AEW does a bad job of promoting their product over the airwaves outside of while you're watching the show, or in other instances when you're watching other certain other show, they'll maybe show some advertising. But if they can get the advertising muscle that the WWE has behind their product, something very similar, and they're already on a better network, I can see 250,000, 300,000 to strive for initially and work from there. But establish the 100 to 150,000 that they were getting from Access, bring them over, and then grow their network, grow the audience, and see where they go from there.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Well, peeps, appreciate you for the ratings for this week, and thank you for the fair assessment. Look, guys, of course, if you're just tuning in, this is Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, I being the phenomenal one, alongside me is my co-host, the Peeps Nate. If you are a fan of the show and you have been watching recently and you do know the other co-host, of course, Mr. Christopher Morton isn't in today. He is battling a regular cold. He should be back hopefully next week, if willing, but we're hoping the best for him. Look, beyond all else, we're here to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. We're now at the half marker of our show, where we go ahead and we get into the question of the day. Now, look, if you want to battle it out and duke it out with other people to try to send us a really good question that we can answer on the show for your enjoyment and for the enjoyment of all other fans, because we feel that the question is important and we feel that we can answer it to the best of our abilities. If you want to be a part of that, all you got to do is one thing and one thing only. DM us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event. Send in the question, and in the words of the Wrestling God, WWE Hall of Famer JBL, if it's good, I guarantee it'll be put up on the show. This week's question of the week comes from Master Sean 007. He says, greetings, gentlemen. Since AJ Styles is looking to retire next year, how would you book his retirement tour? Jeez, all this talk about retirement.
Yeah.
God. Peeps, before we even answer the question, isn't it insane? Like, think about it. Cena's going tonight. Next year, we might have Jericho, AJ, and Brock all retiring in the same year.
Yes.
Not to mention, down the line, we're probably going to have to see Rey Mysterio retire. We're going to have to see Randy retire. Punk. I'm not ready for this, man. Like, my childhood is really dying before my eyes, and you people think it's a joke. Like, I digress. First
there
one of
you
the
go.
day.
Yes, there you go.
You know what? Okay, I think we should just answer the question.
Yeah.
Beeps,
Yes.
if you're booking AJ Styles' retirement tour, how are you doing it?
What they're doing right now, he's the one half of the World Tag Team Champions on Raw with Dragon Lee. That works because AJ is a phenomenal tag team wrestler. Pun intended there. I got you two puns in one show. There you go. When you look at what AJ has done, AJ has been giving you, even now, stellar matches. Which one that comes to mind is his match with John Cena, which I thought was going to be his final opponent.
Indeed.
I had a theory of what is going to happen going forward with the next year, and it's going to apply to one Walter. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I have a feeling Walter and AJ Styles are going to cross paths sometime next year, and it's going to be, the best way that I say it, Legend Killer 2.0.
Isn't this just perfect?
Yes, and I've been thinking about this theory for the latter part of the last 4 or 5 days of what I think they're doing with not just Walter, but how they're going to incorporate that with some of the talents, including AJ Styles, who has still a good year of really good in-ring work to go. And if he can stay healthy and give you the same kinds of matches that we're used to seeing, it's going to be a really good year.
Now, you see, you talk about Gunther. It seems like Uncle Triple C is in the comment section, and I feel like he understands where you're going with people needing to be retired, but this is his thought process on who should be the retirer. Dominic Mysterio should end the careers of AJ, Brock, Y2J as the king of the luchadors and the greatest mega AAA two-time intercontinental campeon of all time. What? Right?
I digress.
Uncle Triple C.
Oh boy.
Appreciate you for that one.
There you go.
But can you imagine? You know, I would think he ends Ray's career. I would hope so. That should be the mark line. That should be the tagline. That should be it. Nobody else should retire Rey Mysterio. On the contrary, Dominic Mysterio being the one to possibly end Y2J's career, I like that idea.
That could be something.
Love that. I would love that. I genuinely would love that.
And it would be a throwback to the matches that Jericho had in ECW with Eddie Guerrero. And there you go. I see where you went there. See? I said years ago that the Phenomenal One is my spirit animal. We're on the same page on that one.
Indeed. And I'm glad that you can already read my mind on how I felt about it. Because I was just thinking to myself, it's like Dominic is already a carbon copy of the late great Eddie Guerrero. Rest in peace. But the fact that you could sit there and just tell yourself, Jericho, Dominic, book it. I would love to see it. And then, of course, can you just imagine Dominic just hastily walking up to Jericho after probably attacking him and saying, you know what? You had beef with my dad, so now I have beef with you. Like, can you just imagine? And Chris Jericho's probably just having like a good time, just like, yeah, me and Ray had beef. I'm not talking about the deadbeat. I'm talking about my dad, Eddie. You're like,
oh boy, yeah, I can see that.
Oh man, you know, just give us the pen at this point, man.
There you go.
But like you were saying, when it comes down to AJ Styles and Master Sean 007's question, right? Yes. I feel like AJ needs one more major title run. I feel like I would love to be able to sit there and see AJ, if not with the WWE title, with the World Heavyweight title. You know what I'm saying, peeps? I would love to at least get to sit there and be like, okay, AJ Styles, back in like, you know, the main event scene, going ahead and doing what he does best, which is perform and deliver.
Yes.
That's what we know AJ Styles to be, and that's been since X Division TNA days. Okay, yes. That has never changed. So genuinely, I don't know who would be the one to retire him. I can't sit there and tell you how many different storylines I want to be able to make out of AJ Styles. But the one thing that I do know is that if he is retiring soon, and it is next year, I need one more title run out of him.
Yeah, I hear you. And if you're looking at it from the standpoint of can he still go, the overarching story is he can either go after the championship and get close, or he could win it but not hold on to it long, and then him striving to try to get back in, and then they can try what they did with Ric Flair, where it's kind of like every match is some kind of stipulation where my next match that I lose will be the last match that I have. Somewhere along those lines. This is where you incorporate Walter to come in and do exactly what he's done with Goldberg and what he may potentially do tonight.
Beeps, I got it. No, I got it. I got the best idea that works for all parties in this situation.
Okay.
SummerSlam. AJ Styles versus, I would say, maybe Cody Rhodes, right?
Okay.
For the WWE title once more. It's for AJ's farewell tour, and AJ is pretty. It's not like he's a heel; he's still a face. But it's just like I want to be able to know that I left this company knowing that in my last year I was still able to hang with every single person and be the top guy with the top belt. Let that be the storyline going into it. Let's say AJ does go ahead and defeat Cody Rhodes. And then Mr. Money in the Bank, Dominic Mysterio, comes out, beats the holy hell out of AJ. and steals the WWE title. And now you can revisit that storyline with AJ and Dominic and have it on a real much more deeper and personal level. It works for all parties because, hey, Cody doesn't really end up being the transitional champion. AJ still is able to hold the title and still be put in the main event scene alongside pushing the future, who is the greatest center, all of that good stuff. Yes. I'm not going to go ahead and continue on with the rest of it. But the reality is that would be something that would work. I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, it only comes down to what WWE wants to do. Because for all I know, they might just be thinking, hell, if it's Brock's last year in this coming year, we're putting the belt on Brock for 8 months. God, no.
Yes.
But I think.
There you go.
Miss Mastertron 007, we hope we answered the question to the best of our abilities, but we appreciate the question. Look, guys, once more, we love the questions. We always love the questions. We always want to find the best one. And if you think you have a question that can go ahead and get put on the show and we can sit there and be like, oh my gosh, we love it, we want to be able to answer it, then go ahead, send it in. We'll go ahead and put it on the show. Remember, DM us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event. Send it in. If it's good, we'll put it on the show. With that being said, peeps, the one thing that I don't want to be doing today, but I have no other choice.
Yes.
Like you guys are forcing me against my will at this point to be doing this, and I'm at a point where I just don't know anymore. Peeps, Saturday night's main event, episode 42. Right? It's December 13th, 2025. It is dubbed as John Cena's final match.
Yes.
We have really got to the point, and it's getting closer now than ever. We say goodbye to a living legend to many individuals, the face of an era, somebody who defined a generation for so many individuals like myself, younger than me, older than me, within the span of the Ruthless Aggression era. This man defied it all. But of course, before we can even get to that match, we're going to go ahead and start off with the first match. Champion versus champion. Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE champion, versus the NXT champion, Obafemi.
Yes.
Now, peeps, we've been thinking, right? We've been like, you know, that we know something has to give.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Drew is going to show up in this match somewhere at some point.
Yes.
But we've always been sitting here, you know, not sold on what the finish would be. Well, I know we made up our minds with something, and I think I'm going to stick to my guns here with what you were saying. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that we're going to be going with Obafemi for the win.
Yes. And Oba Oba will win, and it will not make Cody look bad. It will definitely make Oba look good, but also somebody's going to get into this. Now, it can be done in one of three ways. As we just talked about before, because of what happened on NXT, where Javon Evans had Ricky Saints cost him his championship match against Obafemi. Who knows? Maybe Ricky Saints shows up to do something to cost Obafemi the match. That's one way that Oba loses. We also know that Drew McIntyre, who we all know Cody is going to get into a nice war with over the last couple of weeks after calling him the WWE's resident cockroach. So we know there's some animosity still there from the last couple of weeks.
Indeed.
If Cody wins, would it be that Ricky Saints came in and cost Obafemi the match to have Cody win? Or would they go outside the box and actually have Oba win clean without any interference?
Now,
do I see that happening? If they were bold enough to do it, I would love to see something like that, especially since there are no championships in this match.
Exactly.
But it makes much more sense based on the stakes of the show for Drew to interfere and cost Cody the match and Oba coming out here and winning, and then taking that win back to NXT to brag about Derula coming in and taking somebody's arm. That's what I want to see happen.
Now, just to say this would be a perfect segue for Ricky Saints as well to be interfering in a match, because Drew can further his storyline and his reason for disliking Cody Rhodes because of the fact that he politics his way into securing his title.
Yes.
That would work. So genuinely, I think if they both would show up, I feel that the result would still be the same, Obafemi for the win. And I think we're going to be going 1-for-1 here.
What would be kind of funny if they did something different is that what if they acknowledged that Ricky Saints and Cody Rhodes were friends? And because Ricky Saints comes on the show and talks to Cody beforehand, you think you can actually help me get my title shot with Oba? I can't do that. Cody's back and forth. I can't do that. I can't do that. And then the next thing you know, oh, you're not going to help me out? You've known me for how many years? We go back how long? Okay, fine. And that's when Ricky Saints costs Cody the match to irritate him. There you go.
Take matter into your own hands. I mean,
there you go.
Again, they just have to put us in the room, man. Yo, put us on payroll, salary, something.
There you go.
Oh, jeez. But look, the second match, peeps. Bayley versus Sol Ruka. Another way to highlight good talent from NXT with, of course, an individual who is a part of the famous 4 Horsewomen.
Yes.
Peeps, give me Bayley.
Yes. I've got Bayley winning this also. I have a feeling that not only is this going to be Sol Ruka losing, but remember Zarya, who was her partner, they've been going back and forth about, are you going to be in my corner? I'm hurt. Our relationship is complicated. What are they going to do? I can see this as Sol Ruka losing and then kind of blaming Zarya if Zarya doesn't show up late to try to help her out and then botches this and it costs Sol Ruka the match. And then you have a breakup right there. Now, I don't know if they're going to go that heavy on NXT storylines on Saturday night's main event, but we do know that John Cena said he would like to see the future get established on this show. So it could be something that he wants to see happen as far as getting NXT talent prominently displayed on the show. So if they did something like that, it would make sense. So I would actually have Bayley win this and have the breakup eventually happen. Because as we see, either Sol Ruka or Zarya are going to turn heel. The question is, which one makes the most sense? Zarya, who looks like a heel, is acting more like a face. Yes. Whereas Sol Ruka, who looks like a face, is starting to act more like a heel. That's what we want to see where they go from there.
Indeed. We'll just have to wait and see. But seems like we're 2 for 2 on this one, Adder.
Yes.
Now, the third match, which for me could be a show stealer.
Yes.
AJ Styles and Dragon Lee will be going up against Javon Evans and TNA's own Leon Slater.
Oh, yes. That Swanton 450 is an absolute beauty. Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, this might steal the show.
Yes.
If I'm John Cena, I'm asking myself, how do I, how do I go on after them? How
do I follow this up?
Genuinely. Look, you have high flying ability, you have cruiserweight talent within this, and then of course AJ Styles going up against whatever the future of the business may be, whether it's Leon Slater or whether it's Javon Evans. I know TNA had issues with Leon Slater being, positioned within this match, not really getting the prior notice from WWE, even prior to all of this, but it's going to happen. Beefs, who do you have going over in this match?
As much as I would like to see Evans and Slater come out on top, I still think this is going to be AJ and Dragon Lee. I think that it's not going to be into the extent of having a TNA wrestler teaming up with somebody from NXT winning the tag team championships from Raw. Slater is not going to be any full-time main roster guy anytime soon because Slater seems to be positioned as their current X Division champion as the future of TNA. on some level. So right now, they've got to make sure that they keep him healthy, they keep him prominently displayed, and also at the same time, that tag team, they're still really good. You can tell there's a chemistry between the two of them. They come across to me like two college guys that are just hanging out. Hey, what's up, bro? I'm good, bro. You know, that's what it looks like, and that's what they're doing.
I get it.
Yes.
Well,
so it's going to be Lee. It's going to be AJ Lee.
AJ Lee. You know, that's not a bad team name.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But look, peeps. Hot Rod 316 was already in the comment section, and he says, "Get the tissues ready," because yes, we have to get the tissues ready here.
Yes.
Peeps, John Cena, falter.
Yes.
No matter who wins this, whether it be Cena or whether it be Gunther, it's done. It's over.
Yes.
After a year and a half of announcing this and telling us beforehand that we had to get ready, it's finally here.
Yes.
And after this, we can't see him. Peeps, we spoke about this for about 2 weeks already.
Yes.
And it's like we're still kind of trying to figure out a finish. We're still trying to figure out what they want to do here. I've been hearing a lot of people say, well, what if they go out on a limb and let Cena win? There's no way Cena can possibly lose, right? If Cena can never give up, are we going to get Super Cena? Now, peeps, the one thing that I do want to say, if Cena does win this, right? Formatically, it doesn't ruin Gunther, which can be an element of surprise if Cena comes out and wins this match. Mm-hmm. But being the wrestling savants that we are, we know that it is a time-honored tradition that when you are on the verge of retiring and you are at that point where you are now wrestling your final match, you are going to be looking up at the lights. In this case, we follow tradition. Mm-hmm. And we sit there and we say that Cena will be losing this match.
Yes.
For me, I feel that it will be the way that he loses, though, that defines his career. Peeps, again, never give up.
Yes.
The slogan that this man has lived by for the whole 20 years that he has been doing this. Never give up. Peeps, the last time John Cena tapped out in a match was 2003.
Wow.
Since 2003, every single match John Cena has been in, if he had lost, he ate a pin. But he never tapped out. Why allow it to be any different today? Look what it did for Austin when he didn't tap out to Bret Sharpshooter at WrestleMania 13. Yes, that made a career. But I think within this case, it will define a career. Mm-hmm. It will define what it means to never give up. It will go ahead and move on as encouragement for the fans, for the people who have sat there and watched John Cena from 2002 all the way into 2025 do his thing for the last 23 years within the WWE.
Yes.
John Cena will pass out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this wholeheartedly. John Cena will lose this match via passing out.
Yes.
And that's my case.
Yes, I can see it. I can see him reaching for the ropes. I can see the transition of the STF going in, getting out of the STF, flipping right into the rear naked choke, flipping out of that, going back and forth, Cena going for the AA, maybe going for a pin, slip back into the STF. And if he doesn't pass out in the STF, it will definitely be from that rear naked choke. And I can see that happening. And I alluded to it earlier during the question of the week. From all of the tributes that we've seen from even Samoa Joe in his match in AEW, when he defended the AEW world title with Eddie Kingston, and he went and did the STF. And then while he put him in the STF, he did the salute to salute John Cena. To see all of the tributes that have happened, you start to see in the back of your mind all the matches, all of the times you've seen Cena put somebody in the STF or put somebody in a submission hold, the matches that he's had with Lesnar and AJ Styles and all of the other people, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and the list goes on and on. For him to say never give up and watch him pass out in a submission hold that he legitimately never gave up in. And I can actually see that this becomes the progenitor of what we start to see with Walter being the Legend Killer 2.0. In the sense that I firmly believe this is what they're doing with him, because this is why you don't see Walter wrestle every week. He has become a special attraction. And when he's a special attraction, he then becomes Kurt Angle. He is automatically giving you the best match on the show. And he's going to, like he did with Goldberg, what I think he's going to be doing with John Cena. I have a feeling he's going to do the same thing with AJ. And potentially, since we know that SummerSlam is going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is the consolation prize for losing WrestleMania. I have a feeling that we're going to finally get that Brock versus Walter match that for the last 2 years people have been asking for. And if it happens, I have a feeling that he will end that career then as well. And I think that's how they have positioned Walter. Mostly because why it looks as good as it is, it's the aura of Brock beating The Undertaker and ending his streak at WrestleMania is basically like building up a cachet.
Indeed.
Taking all of this money and winning all of this money, that's what you got for doing that. And then when you get to that last match and you have it against Walter, you push all of those chips on the table and Walter takes all the chips. And that's what John Cena is going to be encountering tonight. And there will not be a dry eye in the building. There won't be a non-deaf ear in the crowd. And I think we're going to enjoy the entirety of everything that's there for John Cena's career being what it is. And it was just great to see.
Indeed. Indeed. Well said, peeps. Well said. Well, you heard it here. Guys, again, get your tissues. Even while Peeps was really explaining that, and I was imagining it in my head, I was really my eyes were genuinely on the verge of starting to sweat.
Yes.
It's just eye sweat, guys. It's just eye sweat.
Yes.
But,
he has an onion somewhere on his table. That's all it is. It's an onion. There you go.
It's just an onion. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's just an onion.
Yes, it's just an onion.
But guys, seriously, look. Nights like this come once in a lifetime.
And Cole better bring it too. Michael Cole is going to be on the call for this. I am anticipating him having a great call for this night. That's what I think will make this.
You have to. I just saw him put out a promo package of how some of the greatest stars of each generation, of each era, had a commentator that was right behind him and called every single one of their matches towards the end. You had Sully and Dusty. You had Jim Ross and Stone Cold. And he said that, tonight will be a night where he will be loud, he will be rowdy, he will be biased towards, of course, John Cena. Yes. I want to be able to hear that because, of course, even when it came down to Stone Cold in his last match at WrestleMania 19, to hear Jim Ross call that match and even the call after the match of Austin walking back up that ramp, I want to be able to feel every single moment tonight.
Yes.
So, look, guys, beyond everything else, this was saying where we came,
we saw, and in the words of the great Paul Heyman,
send us home, peeps.
We conquered.
We conquered, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy Saturday night's main event tonight. Enjoy John Cena's final match. We'll see you next week. This was Sane. Peace, love, farewell. Jeez, peeps, I jeez, man.